Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. Just want to give you some perspective on what's happening with property markets around Australia and alerting you to the reality that amid all the negative media, there are actually a large number of markets that are rising, and some of them are rising very strongly. And one that's worthy of note that's come out of the research that we've been doing today on regional Queensland, and that is the Noosa market. The iconic location of Noosa at the northern tip of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. For a number of years, this market actually hasn't moved very much at all. In fact, prices have been either stagnating or going backwards for many years, but this market has really sparked to life in the last 18 months. In the last 12 months, the growth in Noosa Heads and nearby suburbs has really been quite prolific, and it's worthy of note. On the back of what's happening in the Sunshine Coast economy, which is very much an evolution economy, one that's being transformed by a very, very big infrastructure spend right along the coastal strip, over $20 billion being invested in infrastructure and other developments, including the new hospital precinct, the airport, the motorway, the new Maroochydore CBD, and a whole host of other projects. But the Noosa market in particular is worthy of note. It's because it's such an iconic market. It's well known right around the country as a tourist destination, but also as a property market, which has actually underperformed, say, over the last 10 years. But certainly that's not the case right now. In the last 12 months, the median house price for Noosa Heads has risen 19%, and the median apartment price for Noosa Heads has risen 26%. In neighbouring Noosaville, the median house price is up 8%, and the median unit price is up 16%. So we now have a situation where the median house price for Noosa Heads is 1.1 million, and the median price for houses in Noosaville, next to Noosa Heads, is just on 1 million, according to the CoreLogic figures. Then we have, just outside of Noosa Heads, we have a couple of major, quite exclusive addresses: Sunrise Beach and Sunshine Beach. Now, Sunshine Beach in particular has moved a lot. The median price for houses there is now 1.6 million after a 38% rise in the last 12 months. The unit market has risen, but not nearly as much. And in neighbouring Sunrise Beach, where prices aren't quite so high, but nevertheless there's been substantial growth there as well. The median house price for Sunrise Beach has risen 11% in the last 12 months, and the median apartment price in Sunrise Beach has risen 23%. So this is quite extraordinary growth figures in this market. In Noosa, houses up 20%, units up 26%, Sunrise Beach houses up 38%, Sunrise Beach apartments up 23%, and then there's other markets in that general area where there's been substantial growth. They're not quite as spectacular as those numbers. So amongst all the media about Sydney prices falling and Melbourne prices falling and debate about how much they're falling, and it's all a question of whose figures you believe, based on these figures, the Noosa market at the northern tip of the Sunshine Coast is one of those that's that right now is rising really strongly, and that doesn't surprise given what we know that's happening in the Sunshine Coast economy. It's all about the local economy. You will see a lot of media commentary about interest rates, about the difficulty of getting finance, about all sorts of national factors which are used as an explanation of what's happening with property markets. But at the end of the day, the fundamental factors that drive markets to either rise or fall or stagnate is what's happening locally. The local economy on the Sunshine Coast is particularly strong. It's one of the strongest anywhere in Australia, whether it be capital city or regional. And in the last 12 months, many of the suburbs of the Sunshine Coast, right across, up and down the coastal strip of the Sunshine Coast, have risen in double digits. But in particular, these markets up in the north around the iconic Noosa Head. That's it for now. Terry Ryder signing off. Let's do it again soon.